Stop listening to anyone that's talking about the bubble bursting or the crash. I'm Tim Diesel, I'm a commercial real estate consultant. And today I want to answer a question that keeps coming in multiple times. What about the crash? What about the bubble popping? What about all of this other stuff? Listen, let's simplify this a little bit, guys. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Whether you buy today, tomorrow, next week, whatever the case is, unless you're flipping property, that's the biggest time that's going to make the most difference. And what I'll do is I'll release another video giving you guys some tips about market crashes and really dive in a little bit more. What I feel is happening now is a lot of people are getting hesitant and you're getting paralyzed over really something that no one really knows when it's going to happen or if it is. I mean, everybody has a projection, and it doesn't matter what you watch anywhere, everyone's going to have an opinion, and everybody's wrong all the time. They thought this was going to happen 2 years ago and all this other stuff. Forget about all that. Focus on what you can control. And if you get yourself a good deal, then get into it. But if you're over leveraged and you're borrowing money and you're doing everything you can to make it 100% financed, it may not be the best deal unless there's an upside. So everyone's going to talk about value add. Everyone's going to talk about what to buy, multifamily, 50 units or under, because the big boys are over 100 units. Look, everybody knows all that. But the thing is, everyone's looking for that same property. So you're competing with so many other people. And you need to focus on what you have control over, what you have the biggest advantage on. So if that's 2 or 3 units, then start with that. It doesn't really matter. If you can get your hands on decent financing. Now, let me break this part down a little bit, because everybody talks about, oh, get financing, get all this other stuff. Look, I love financing. If I could finance 100% of everything, I'd do it every single time. And I encourage you, if you can understand the mechanics of how you're financing the deal and does it make sense, I would say do it all day long. But some of us are in a position where it doesn't make a lot of sense. So it really depends on you, the individual, the property, the opportunity, the position you are in life. Doesn't mean 100% financing is right for everybody. It's absolutely not true at all. Because what if you're just, I don't know, in a different position, what if you're a different stage of your life? You're younger, you're older, who really knows? It just depends, and also depends on the deal. So depending on what you're looking at. Now, mobile homes, for example, the financing is not going to be as favorable as apartments, just the way it is. Some storage facilities are going to have different financing programs than a warehouse with one tenant. But regardless of all of that, don't be scared of what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. Don't ever try to time the market, because you're going to lose every single time. The biggest thing I want you to take away from this video is if you have an opportunity, do what you can to make it happen. And if you're looking for deals, just like I tell you all the time, if you're looking for properties, if you're making offers, make real offers, talk to people, get out there, use your referrals, have deals coming in. They are out there. Deals can come in. The only difference between buying a deal today and 5 or 10 or 15 years from now, just the numbers. The mechanics are of the actual, when I say the numbers, I mean the actual value of the property, right? Maybe they've doubled in value, whatever the case is. In terms of the LTVs and the percentages and the way we put everything together, that's all the same. None of that has changed. There isn't a new commercial financing program that's better than everything else. Now, there are other stuff where maybe if you're an owner user and maybe they have certain kind of stated or documented stuff. I'm sure there's stuff like that out there. I'm not familiar with them. But I'm talking about the regular 25, 30% down investor special type loan. And if you're working on something like that and the deal makes sense, when I say it makes sense, I mean you can close on the property and instantly get a cash flow. That's a pretty decent, and if it's a decent deal, what you want to do is see where you can take it. Now, this could mean a couple things. So when I say see where you could take it, every deal should be a value add, right? Let's assume everything we're looking at is a value added opportunity. Unless if you're buying, I don't know, a building with a Wendy's in it that has a 15-year deal. Odds are you're not going to really skyrocket the value of that building anytime soon. You're buying something and you're just hanging on to it. So let's assume everything we're buying, there's going to be a little bit of potential there. All right? So if you're getting your hands on something, whether it's an office building, whatever it is, if there's an opportunity there, let's just say the market crashes tomorrow. Well, it doesn't really matter because you're not trying to sell. You're still trying to work out your plan and work out your strategy. It doesn't mean every business is going to close down. It doesn't mean every office tenant is going to leave. They're talking about the housing bubble. They're talking about houses. Not all the time does that, most houses, they're not necessarily all next to office space. Some people, it just depends on what it is. It just kind of depends on the situation. But houses are valued differently, right? It goes by comps. So if your 3-bedroom house is going to be worth what the guy next door to you is worth. So commercial real estate is valued completely different. It's all about cash flow, how new the building is, the upkeep. Everyone's talking about buying B or C assets. Well, yeah, you should only buy B or C. No one ever talks about buying A. I mean, if you're buying A, you're a whole other different ballgame, right? So essentially, everyone's looking for the same thing. So don't be afraid of whatever it is. If you see a property, if you're just looking around, you're looking on LoopNet or whatever, Crexy, whatever you're on, and you think it's okay, type up an LOI. I've showed you how to do that. It's 1 page. Just see if the guy's interested. You never know. So many times people have had a property for a while and they want these outrageous numbers and say, I've made an offer to someone and I think he was selling something at like a 3 cap. Ridiculous. I said, listen, I'll buy it if you finance me 100%. And that's how deals work. I bet no one's thought about asking that. It's just that simple. Hey, will you do this for me? Sure. Let's work out some terms. That's all it takes. So don't worry about the market crash. Don't worry about any of this. Focus on your strategy. Focus on your game plan. So anybody talking about a market crash, they don't know what they're talking about because they've been talking about it for years. And leave those guys. Focus on your game plan. All right, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.